Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gav Major and this is WoWs Weekly. WoWs Weekly is the weekly news video which covers news of World of Warships Legends in the week past and the week coming up. It's also a place where I cover off some of the channel news and some speculations. Well, I guess first item of news is obviously we did have a community managers live stream which started on the Friday the 12th, well, featured on Friday the 12th I should say, and having gone through that, a couple of things to note because I know that not everyone watches it all the way through because of times and things like that, and also sometimes it's not everyone's cup of tea, I guess you could say. So first of all, expected nerfs to the gearing due to the introduction of the new United States Navy commander Gleaves. Basically, they haven't nerfed her yet, but they understand that they probably will nerf her due to the way that Gleaves can actually buff out a torpedo range. So potentially you could be looking at a decrease in the range of the Gearing's torpedoes. Whether or not they also have other impact on the Gearing's torpedoes like reload times and things like that in order to try and counter some of Gleaves' abilities, it's going to be an interesting one to see. Now, as we may have discussed during our own little live stream regarding the patch notes back before this patch dropped, we did note that there was a low amount of doubloons available within the campaign. This has been basically commented on by the community managers, and it's basically said that more doubloons have been distributed from the campaign to other ways of gaining them, such as the competitive game modes. So they're just trying to spread out the way that doubloons are, trying to remove so much focus on the campaign or try to move some more focus onto other game modes and things like that. Now, it was hinted that the April Fool's mode will be in space. Now, this is something that has been happening on World of Warships PC for the past, it's going to be happening this year and it's happened in the past year. And so it's expected that we're going to have some similar format or similar style to what they've got there. Now, it's expected that there will be a buff to the 150mm secondaries on the German tech tree, especially the Bismarck is one thing that's been identified, and this will basically improve the high explosive penetration of the 150mm secondaries. However, this will not be going to 1/4 high explosive pen. That's basically the ratio between the diameter of the shell and how much it penetrates through armor, I guess you could say. Now, Italian battleships have been confirmed that they will be a while off, and therefore any associated commanders with the Italian battleship tree probably won't be coming until we get the introduction of the Italian battleships. Normally, where there is a need for a particular commander, they will introduce one, very much like Gleaves. However, in this case, there's only 2 Italian battleships in the game, and there probably won't be any more in the foreseeable future. Therefore, introducing an additional commander simply for 2 ships isn't quite justifiable. Regarding the Missouri, the ship that is available for steel, her radar is most likely going to be 9 kilometers range. However, potentially it could be up to 10 kilometers, but most likely going to be 9. Now, Missouri is a pre-nerf Iowa. By pre-nerf, that means that she won't be affected by the nerfs to the Iowa that consisted of reducing the armor-piercing shell damage and the reallocation of the HP. So with the Iowa, one of the nerfs was that more of her HP was allocated to the superstructure in order to make her more farmable. Now, there will be additional ships available for steel, however, not anytime soon. Future ships, however, won't be limited to just tier 7, so we could see tier 5s, tier 4s, tier 6s becoming available for steel. Regarding new maps, the answers are yes at some point, so no necessary deadline being set, but expanding the map rotation is something that is on the cards, but the development time, things like that, they're not really expecting anything soon, I guess you could say. Now, they are still working on ways to introduce permanent camouflages into the game, and we are seeing some of these methods being introduced, whether that's through the store, whether that's actually being able to melt it directly when you're looking at the ship and things like that. So they are still working on ways that they can introduce more of them and make them more available, I guess you could say. Now, it's also been confirmed that it's highly unlikely that the Jean Bar will become a global XP ship. This I found a little bit surprising. So what that means for the Jean Bar in the long term, I can't really say. Whether she becomes a bureau ship, maybe not. Whether she becomes a steel ship, I guess that's a potential. Alternatively, she could be just reserved and placed in crates. Now, when aircraft carriers are released, we will probably be getting the anti-aircraft defensive fire consumable, probably on cruisers and some other ships which have sufficient anti-aircraft suites. So it's basically some form of confirmation that there will be an anti-aircraft consumable coming when we do get aircraft carriers. Aircraft carriers obviously have gone back into redevelopment following the testing and the feedback from the community, and they will be returning. So it's expected they'll be returning sometime this year. Now, regarding the ships in the PC version of the game and how they're being ported over into World of Warships Legends, as you may know, in the PC version of the game they have 10 tiers. In the console version of the game we have 7 tiers. Now, our tiering system works as in that if you try and think of it as in comparison to World of Warships PC, our tier 7 is their tier 8, and therefore our tier 1 is like their tier 2. So we're missing off the bottom, and we're also missing off the top. Now obviously they are introducing some of those PC tier 9 and 10 ships into World of Warships Legends as legendary ships, things like the Yamato and Alaska, the Gearing, the Conqueror, those kind of ships. Now basically when you consider that they've got 2 more tiers of ship and we've only got 1 more additional tier, that legendary tier, what that does mean is actually we could potentially see some tier 9 and tier 10 ships from the PC version of the game actually being introduced as either legendary tier ships or tier 7 premium ships, although they will have to be slightly nerfed in order to put them more in line with the other tier 7 ships. So from a kind of British bias point of view, I know, but what that does mean is that we could actually see Daring and Jutland, whether Daring will be the legendary, whether Jutland will be a legendary tier 7. Also that means Minotaur and Tiger. So that's actually quite interesting. I did wonder how they were going to be dealing with that kind of gap, because they've got 2 tiers and they're trying to cram them into one. So will some of them filter down? Does that mean we could see some more other tier 7 premium ships? So I guess that kind of means that they're not going to be drying up on ships anytime soon when it comes to campaign rewards, because it seems to be a general gist that most campaign rewards are tier 7 ships, with the occasional tier 6 and lower tiers along the way. Now obviously we've just had ranked season 10 go by, and well, I hope you all did well. Having a look through the people that I have on my friends list, I've seen that pretty much everyone did complete it. Personally, myself, I managed to actually grind it out in 25 games with a win rate of 76%. I'm sure that some of you guys have done a lot better than myself. It was actually quite refreshing to have it quite short like that. My concern was how many stars would there be, but there was only like 2 or 3 stars per rank, so it wasn't too bad. And yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it. It was quite nice to just put some music on and grind it out. Now, obviously, what that does mean is we do have Ranked Battles Season 11 coming up this weekend, starting on March the 19th and running until March the 22nd, with the end and start times being 7 AM UTC. So basically, it's going to start at 7 AM UTC on the 19th, and you'll end on 7 AM UTC, I think on the 23rd. Obviously, adjust the times to your time zone. Now, also, from March the 16th, so that was 2 days ago, we have had the release of the St. Patrick's Day content. Now, what this content includes is basically HMS Belfast is now available in the store. Now, she does come with the standard Belfast camouflage that she had when she was released as a campaign ship, so you don't have to worry about getting that god-awful green camouflage. However, if you do want that god-awful green camouflage, then the only way to get access to it is through purchasing pots of gold. Now obviously that does mean that now pots of gold are available, and they're going to be available from March the 16th until the end of the patch. Now, talking about the pots of gold, regarding their drop rates, so basically each one has a 100% chance of dropping both of 1,250 doubloons and 3 St. Paddy's Day camouflages, which is some more lovely green camouflage. In addition to that, it can drop an additional thing. There's an 8.75% chance it would also drop 1 million credits. There's a 2.28% chance it will also drop 7 or 20 promotion orders. 0.63% chance it will drop a universal accommodation. A 0.5% chance it will drop a St. Patrick's Day Belfast camouflage, so not really a high chance of getting that. 0.25% chance of dropping a single insignia, and a 0.1% chance of dropping 100,000 doubloons. Please note that when it drops the 100,000 doubloons, this will replace the 1,250 doubloons, which would be normally dropped inside a pot of gold. And furthermore, if you already own the St. Patrick's skin for the Belfast, then the chance of that will be removed from the possible drops. All in all, regarding the pots of gold, so obviously going to be talking in regards to Great British pounds or pound sterling. 8 pots of gold will cost you approximately £30. Now, based on that, it will grant you guaranteed 10,000 doubloons and 24 St. Patrick's Day camouflages. Now, obviously, it also then has that additional chance of dropping something else. However, for the same price of £30, you could buy 11,500 doubloons. So you're getting 1,500 doubloons less, but guaranteeing yourself 24 camouflages and chancing your arm at some credits, promotion orders, accommodations, insignias, or maybe 100,000 doubloons. Whether that's completely worthwhile, I think I'll leave that down to you. I mean, I guess for the camouflages, it's quite tempting, especially if you're looking for the paint. If you're not exactly too particular about whether you have that 10,000 or 11,500 and you're happy just to chance your arm for a couple of accommodations or promotion orders and getting those camouflages, then that's fair enough, I think. Obviously, if you want to invest into the game, that is your personal choice, and I don't necessarily encourage it, but I don't necessarily dissuade it either, is the best way to put it. Now, obviously, April Fool's Day is assumed. I'm assuming it's going to be starting from the 22nd of March. The reason why I say that is because we can expect more details today on the 18th of March. So keep an eye out on the Facebook and YouTube of World of Warships Legends and Reddit and God knows what other social media they have. I think they have a Twitter and stuff like that. So hopefully we should be seeing more details regarding the April Fool's Day information. And also, we do know it's going to be set in space. We do have a kind of idea what it's like on PC, so how much of that would port over to Legends, I don't know. Whether it would just be team deathmatch in a space-themed map, whether it would be something, maybe arena or something like that. So let's wait and see. I look forward to being intrigued what that's going to be like. Obviously, I think it's going to be associated with a campaign currency. The reason why I say that is because obviously we've had that campaign currency counter or whatever you want to call it appear in our store. Obviously we haven't yet earned anything towards it, and it looks suspiciously like a space coin. So whether it's going to be associated with that, that's my gamble, I guess you could say. Also, on March the 16th, so a couple of days ago, there was a fix for the Xbox, which was released in order to combat some of the crashes that were being experienced on the Xbox. Now, this patch is of 400 megabytes, so if you haven't been on the Xbox recently, or you haven't booted up for recently, you will note that there will be a patch for the Xbox for World of Warships Legends. Now, that pretty much wraps up everything regarding the game. Just quickly covering off some of the channel stuff. Obviously, the Patrons pick is now up. If you are a patron, or if you'd like to consider being a patron, the link is down in the description, because obviously non-monetized channel. Basically, patrons, if you would like to make a number of suggestions, and I will pick 2. You have until 2300 UTC on Saturday the 20th, and after which, I mean, I might be a bit lenient if you've got a good idea. But my aim is to surely try and get it picked, let it post it, let you guys know what I've picked, and then also I will then try and record it for Sunday, and then I'll probably release them exclusively on Patreon and have them come out on the channel as time goes by. Sorry that I've been a little bit lacking behind regarding the Patreon content. As you may know, I have been taking a bit of a stepped back role with how much I've been involved with playing the game and stuff recently, but I am keeping up to date with it, and I hope I haven't let you down too much. I don't think I have anything more to report. I haven't got anything more to speculate. Obviously, we do have that Italian cruiser, but as and when she comes out, we don't necessarily know. We're only in the second week of the patch. She might be saved until a bit later in the patch in order to obviously have something to look forward to. Probably whether she'd come out in the fourth week would be probably my gander if I had to guess at anything. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this last week, and if you have, feel free to give it a thumbs up. As always, down in the description is the link to Patreon and also the email address if you want to send in any of your own game captures. If I would actually like to encourage people to send in some game captures, where the library is getting a little bit light, I have to confess. So if you do have any good game captures, feel free to send them in. Well, I'd like to say thank you to all the subscribers, I'd like to say thank you to all the patrons, and until next time, I'm the Gav Major, and back to the port.
Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping major. Bumpity, 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 bump. Get out of the way there, you fellows, unless you want me to run you down. I guess this is the life. Now, hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping major.